What the fuck? I'm all out of sorts today, so we're drinking sangria because nobody else seems to follow the rules. If you've been under a rock all day and chose this as your first out of a rock source, there's a lot you need to know. Tastes like sangria. Don Simon. Chinese writing on here. Yeah. So to start the day, Seth Jones signs in Columbus. Pretty big contract, pretty big deal. Traded obviously 1-for-1 for Ryan Johansson, defenseman for forward. Big trade, happened during the season. And then today we have Taylor Hall traded to the Devils for Adam Larsson, which everybody is saying is larceny on the Devils side of things, stealing Taylor Hall, which they did, but that's also the price that we knew needed to be paid. Maybe not so much. Everybody seems to hate the deal a lot more than I do. Adam Larsson, a 4th overall pick in 2011, obviously hasn't been a showstopper, but he's been playing on a pretty crappy Jersey team. Tied for the lead on that team in plus minus last year at plus 15 with Camilleri. If you ask me, I say he's like a little Hedman. Hedman's first 4 years weren't showstoppers either. Everybody started to think, oh, maybe he's not going to be anything special, and look at him now. And I think Larsson has that exact same potential as Hedman does. Whether or not that pans out, of course, is yet to be seen, but he's going to be in a good position. And then Hall to the Devils is just weird. Just like everybody on the Devils, the land of misfit toys over there. But he's going to have a lot of people to prove wrong. So those are the two small news stories of the day. They happened around an hour in between each other, 2 hours in between each other. 20 minutes after the Hall Larsson trade, PK Subban gets traded to the Nashville Predators for Shea Weber, which is the big deal of the day. It's also the one that has most people scratching their head because it just doesn't. It seems so unnecessary. It's like right away I don't agree with it now, but right away I thought that there must have been something racial that drove the Canadians and Subban's relationship because it didn't make sense. He was the perfect guy off the ice. Obviously, he took risks on the ice, but there's Erik Karlsson that does the same. Lots of guys play the same way. He always gave it 100% to that city, to that team, to everything. And they've always been after him. There's the low high fives he used to do with Price, and they stopped that from going on. Since I think the NHL is just a no fun league. And that's why Subban gets in trouble, because he likes to have fun, because he's got a personality. And the NHL for a little while now has been trying to suppress that, and I think you really need to go. You're seeing it in baseball now with Harper. That you're going to need that. But the Canadians get a 4-year older player that's on his way down probably now for the same amount of money and the same amount of years still left on the contract. It really doesn't make any sense. The Predators are laughing. They did the Seth Jones for Johansson, got a young center, 1-2 center, and now they got a young 1D-man, 1-2 D-man to go with Yossi already. They're just getting better and younger. Bold by David Poile. Very bold moves. And then Steven Stamkos He'll come on the screen at some point. He signs in Tampa and ruins all the fun for July 1st. So he's not going anywhere, so Leaf fans can cry about that. What a day. What a fucking day. Andrew Luck signs the richest contract in NFL history. He's getting his money now after a horrible year. God knows what it would have been like if he had a good year. Noah looks like he's going to reunite with Derrick Rose and sign with the Knicks. It's supposed to be the off season. Supposed to be watching baseball highlights. So, the Devils win the Hall trade. They have to. Only because they're getting the better player. Edmonton fills the need they need to fill. It's funny with that because everybody before was crying, Edmonton needs to make a move, trade a forward, get a defenseman, you're bad. And then they do it and everybody's like, oh, you're bad, you got a bad defenseman, you traded a good forward. Why do you think they didn't just do it at the start? You can't just trade a forward and get a good defenseman. You got to give up something to get something. I think that the deal's going to work out well. Larson will win more cups than Hall. Though the Devils do now have Hall, Schneider, Henrique, a couple of the pieces coming up. But they've got a couple of years. The Oilers now are at least starting to build a foundation. With Puljujarvi falling to them. Lucic has got to be signing now. They wouldn't have traded Hall away from that left side without knowing they have another left side player coming in. So I'm sure that there's a handshake agreement between those two sides, and that'll be done on July 1st. The Nashville-Montreal one's weird because I don't think Montreal's there yet, so they lose the trade because they're getting an aging player. If they were on the brink right now, on the cusp, and maybe Price brings them back somehow, and Weber shores up defensively, but I think he's going to go the way Chara did. Chara just sort of fell off after dominating. The league is getting younger and faster and quicker, and Weber's getting older and slowing down. So I don't see how that's a good deal for the Habs. So the Preds get a little bit better. Had a little playoff run last year. That's exciting for them. Tampa locking up Stamkos. Some people seem surprised. Not say I was surprised. I really thought he'd go to free agency. I thought he'd get 10 mil plus, signing for 8.5 a year in Tampa, but they have no taxes there. American dollar versus Canadian dollar. So really he's making similar money to if he signed at 10 mil in Toronto. But Tampa's a really good team. What they did this year, East Finals, up 3-2 on Pittsburgh in the East Finals with no Stamkos, with only having Stroman a little bit of the time. They've got good goaltending, good young forwards. They're set up real well. And Stamkos taking 1.5 less than he could have gotten, at least 1.5 less than he could have gotten, just means he's bought into that. Drouin seems happy. Funny how that all worked out for them. Thought for sure Drouin, Stamkos gone, now they're both there. And Columbus signing Seth Jones that's a big news story if the rest of this shit doesn't go on. There was a lot of talk that Seth Jones was going to have teams signing offer sheets to him because defensemen are so hard to come by. So them locking him up is a big deal. They took Pierre-Luc Dubois at third. So they got who knows what they got going on. They've always got something going on, but at the same time nothing ever goes on. Yeah, I think that's it. Join us next week for another What the Fuck Wednesday.